was kind of funny. The rest of the company in those days began to nickname the game Neverquest because there was no way this thing was ever going to ship.
I think we were a little crazy, honestly, to take the thing on.
We were the crazy guys. You know, moving away from the core of the business, the game was being made for the game's sake. I mean, every decision was being made essentially in the context of, is this going to be a great experience? There was no concept that this thing would be as huge as it was.
Did you see Smed going through peaks and valleys of stress?
You know, he's trying to get the support from corporate, and he's making sure that the game's coming out on time and doing everything. So yeah, he was in stitches the whole time.
We were pretty much working like at least 14-hour days, like 7 days a week. I remember Kevin McPherson sleeping under his desk. He would stumble around the office with a blanket wrapped around himself.
All you saw in the cubes and in the corners of the walls were sleeping bags and dog bowls.
And yeah, there were times where team members came and said, I can't do this anymore, I'm quitting. And you try to calm them down, and you know, Smed helped some of the time, you know, giving them perspective.
The sheer volume of art was absolutely astounding to me. I've never seen a game that had that many assets in development for so long.
MMO, obviously you got thousands and thousands of assets to create. You got to keep track of them, you have to keep them in style, and you also have large teams.
We had to actually make the decision at one point that we're not going to do software rendering. We're going to bank on the fact that people are going to buy these cards and that it's actually going to work when we ship.
And I was probably pretty nervous about it. Smed was like, let's do it. And he was right.
Did it wind up driving the sales of those cards?
Oh yeah, I think so.
The first time Rosie put together Kinos, and just walking around and actually seeing what the engine could do, you know, there's a feeling of immersion there. It was one of the first true 3D engines. I didn't think a game could look that good at that point.
A lot of people to this day don't realize Kinos is Sony EQ spelled backwards.
So do you think that EverQuest is really a result of the personalities?
Absolutely. If you look at EverQuest, it pays homage to all the games that the people in the team were playing. Actually, if you look at the original special thanks sections for the credits, it's just this huge cacophony of different influences that we threw in there.
Does anyone ever play Monopoly anymore?
If people are looking at this game with such anticipation this far out, it's going to be huge.
We knew we had something magical at that point in time. We knew that it was going to succeed commercially. We didn't know to what level.
We're talking like, oh yeah, we're hoping to get 70,000 people. If we can just get 70,000 people to play, then we'll be doing pretty good.
So when EQ launched, it was either going to sink or swim, literally.
Literally 3 to 4 months before we shipped EverQuest, we could feel it because we would go to events and you'd have like 20 editors sitting in the corner talking about EverQuest and this game that's coming out, and it just started bubbling out.
And I did a search for EverQuest, and the first 2 pages were just full of fans talking about, when is this game going to come out? This is what I'm going to be when the game launches.
And it just seemed like everybody wanted a piece of this. Every hardcore editor, every hardcore gamer wanted it, and then when we shipped it, it was just an explosion.
Concurrent an hour after launch, and the servers went down.
We had a lot more people show up on day one than we expected. The internet provider that we were going with for this didn't have any concept of really how much bandwidth we were going to be taking up.
And once we got over that problem, we went straight to 100,000 concurrent within a few months.
At that time, getting to 100,000 concurrent, 150, that just didn't happen. Nothing was even close to that, right?
Even close to it.
They made this game, they pulled it off. They brought the whole team together, they fought the naysayers, and then it launches, and it's like the biggest launch of a video game ever. It's huge.
Why are you talking to me?
There are over 1 million NPCs populating the world of EverQuest. What is an NPC? Non-player character. Then who's playing the actual game? Never mind. Now we talk about EverQuest with future Hall of Fame pitcher Kurt Schilling.
The most vivid memory of EverQuest for me was probably the moment I'm probably least proud of as well, which was we were playing in Florida against the Marlins, and we had a day game followed by an off day, followed by a night game. The day game got rained out, and I logged into EverQuest at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. And I logged out at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday. Wow. 2 showers, 7 or 8 room service orders. I never left the game.
Wow.
And it was no sleep, nothing. When I was done, it was like, what did I just do?
How many hours total do you think has gone into...
I can't even fathom. I have no idea.
It could be in the thousands.
It's definitely in the thousands, and it's not a number I would want to publicly admit.
So you're up next? When will you learn that I'm tough as nails and you can't beat me? Is that the best you have? I really thought you'd be a tougher opponent.
I look at EverQuest as the first true MMO.
Ultimate didn't capture you the same way EverQuest did?
The main reason was because it's totally different visually. It was a totally different game. There was an immersiveness that first-person MMO was offering that, EverQuest was the first to do it.
Live on the internet. Embark online with hundreds of thousands of people to form alliances, friends, and enemies. Enemies.
Why are we standing in a hallway?
You guys keep clowning me, dude. That's not cool. So you guys met through EverQuest.
Yeah.
And then here you guys are at Blizzard making massive multiplayer online games.
Yeah, totally. All three of us met through EverQuest. I think EverQuest was a brilliant game. In a lot of ways, it kicked off a lot of what's going on right now. There were so many great aspects, not only to the game itself, but the community. You had guys like Alex, who was the absolute superstar to those of us who were playing the game. Oh my God, Fuhrer plane defiler, like the ultimate badass.
Alex, you were a superstar in EverQuest?
I don't know. Apparently I was.
That's not the way he talked on his website. Gosh, geez.
That was in character.
Bow down before the plane's defiler.
I think we had something like 50,000 people or so show up day one wanting to play like right away. Over 100,000 concurrent at one point.
We were looking at the usage reports and people never logged out. When we saw the races to get to like level 50, we were kind of surprised by it. And we were certainly surprised with how fast they got there. In fact, we had to go back and retune a few of the dragons. We certainly didn't predict that people were going to be spending 18 hours a day in there blowing through that stuff.
A kid being in the hospital, unable to run. We got a letter once where he's saying, thank you so much, I can run inside of EverQuest.
I could hang around people, and who I was and what I did was insignificant.
Getting ready to roll out for lunch. Come out of the door, and you've got 4 or 5 people that are standing there.
Jim Lee showed up there.
From DC Comics.
He was just a fan.
Yes, Med, I'm just a fan.
That's awesome.